Ever wondered what would happen if we could measure desire with the precision of quantum physics? What if the universe of attraction had fundamental forces that, once understood, could completely rewrite our understanding of human connection? Let us consider an outlandish hypothesis. What if sexual desire isn't the primary motivating force in romantic attraction, but rather a secondary effect of something far more powerful and evolutionarily significant? The standard model of attraction that most people operate from goes something like this. Physical attraction leads to sexual desire, which leads to pair bonding. It's a tidy, linear progression that makes intuitive sense. But what if this model is as outdated as Newtonian physics was before Einstein came along? When researchers at the Fictional Institute for Advanced Relationship Dynamics attached fMRI machines to couples in various stages of relationships, they discovered something astonishing. The brain's reward centers showed significantly higher activation in response to certain non-sexual interactions than during anticipation of sexual activity itself. This created what neurologists now call the desire paradox. The discovery that what humans consciously identify as sexual attraction is often a misattribution of a deeper, more fundamental craving for something else entirely. So what is this mysterious force that creates more intense neurological rewards than sex? The research points to something both simpler and more complex. The experience of being truly seen, understood, and valued for one's authentic self. The neurochemistry is fascinating. When test subjects experienced moments of deep, authentic recognition from partners, their brains released a unique cocktail of neurochemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and most interestingly endocannabinoids in a specific ratio that researchers dubbed the recognition response. This neurochemical signature created reward responses 37% more intense than those measured during sexual anticipation. Even more remarkably, the effects had a significantly longer half-life in the brain, creating a sustained sense of connection and well-being that lasted up to 24 times longer than the neurochemical effects of sexual activity. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. Our ancestors lived in small bands, where social connection directly impacted survival chances. Those who formed the deepest bonds, who were truly seen and understood by others, had access to greater resources, protection, and collaborative opportunities. The mathematical model of authentic recognition follows what neuroscientists call perceived value attribution theory. The equation looks something like this. Attraction intensity equals, divided by effort required in simpler terms. The depth of attraction corresponds to how accurately you perceive someone's true self, multiplied by how genuinely you accept what you perceive, divided by how much effort they must expend to be recognized. When someone feels that you see them more accurately and accept them more completely than others, duan that this recognition requires less performance, or persona maintenance on their part, the attraction generated follows an exponential rather than linear progression. This creates what physicists might call a recognition gravity well, an attraction force that increases rather than decreases with proximity. Unlike conventional models where familiarity often diminishes desire over time, the mechanics of this phenomenon operate at both conscious and subconscious levels. At the neural level, the brain is constantly running prediction algorithms, assessing how well others understand us based on micro-interactions. Each accurate prediction confirmation releases small dopamine bursts. Each miscalibration creates subtle threat responses. Over thousands of interactions, these micro-responses aggregate into what we experience as either deep connection or persistent unease, often without conscious awareness of the underlying pattern recognition occurring. But here's where it gets really interesting. The most powerful form of recognition is not just seeing someone's surface-level self, but recognizing potential selves that they haven't yet fully actualized. When test subjects were exposed to partners who accurately reflected their current self-concept, brain scans showed significant reward center activation. But when partners accurately identified aspirational qualities or capabilities that subjects recognize as authentic but undeveloped aspects of themselves, the reward response increased by an additional 42%. This creates what psychologists call the Michelangelo effect. It's named after the sculptor's famous quote that he simply released the figure already existing within the marble. When a partner sees not just who you are, but who you could become, becomes that vision aligns with your own deep self-concept, the attraction generated can literally rewrite neural pathways. The physics of this interaction follow principles similar to quantum entanglement. Once two people have experienced this deep recognition, their identities become partially entangled each. Person's self-concept is now partially stored in the other's perception, creating a distributed identity network that becomes increasingly difficult to disentangle over time. This explains why the loss of a partner who truly saw us is experienced as not just the absence of that person, but as a partial loss of self, because a portion of our identity was indeed externally stored in their perception. The most counterintuitive finding from this research is that physical attractiveness plays a remarkably small role in this deeper attraction system. While physical attributes might create initial interest, the recognition response works on entirely different neural circuitry, quickly overshadowing physical factors when activated. In laboratory experiments, subjects were asked to rank the attractiveness of potential partners before and after experiences of deep recognition. After authentic recognition exchanges, participants' attractiveness ratings of their interaction partners increased by an average of 63%, with brain scans confirming this wasn't social politeness, but genuine perceptual shift. This creates what researchers call recognition beauty, the phenomenon where someone becomes objectively more physically attractive to us after we experience being deeply seen by them. It's not just that we overlook physical flaws. Our visual processing systems literally emphasize different features after recognition events. So how does one activate this powerful force? The mechanics are both simple and extraordinarily difficult. Equation requires genuine curiosity about another's internal landscape, the ability to temporarily suspend one's own perspective, courage to reflect what you perceive without distortion, and acceptance of what you discover without judgment, the mathematical probability of all four conditions being met in typical social interactions approaches zero, explaining why so many relationships never tap into this deeper attraction system. But here, see fascinating paradox. The very difficulty of achieving this state is precisely what makes it so valuable. In a world of easy physical attraction and algorithmic matching, the rarity of true recognition creates what economists would call scarcity value. Its uncommonness directly increases its worth. The implications are profound. If accurate recognition creates stronger attraction than physical desire, it suggests we've been optimizing for the wrong variables in relationship formation. The data indicates that developing recognition skills, learning to truly see others, and allow ourselves to be seen would create far more relationship satisfaction than focusing on physical appearance or sexual technique. This also explains a phenomenon that has long puzzled evolutionary psychologists. Why do humans find such different physical types attractive, when natural selection should theoretically converge on universal standards? The answer may be that physical attraction was never the primary selector. Recognition compatibility was with physical preferences developing as post hoc justifications for attractions that actually originated in the recognition circuits. If this model is correct, it suggests something radical about human relationships, that our capacity to see and be seen, to recognize and be recognized, isn't just a nice bonus feature of romantic connections, but their fundamental evolutionary purpose. The most mind-bending implication? That sex itself may have evolved not just as a reproductive mechanism, but as a vehicle for creating the intense vulnerability and openness that facilitates recognition events. Physical intimacy, in this framework, is valuable not just for the pleasure it provides, but for the perceptual barriers it temporarily dissolves. So perhaps the question isn't whether she could want you more than sex itself, but whether sex has always been merely the delivery mechanism for something humans want far more deeply: the extraordinary relief of being truly seen, recognized, and accepted, a relief that, according to the neuroscience, creates rewards that make even the most earth-shattering physical pleasures pale in comparison.